right? And observe here, this is a CSV file actually. Whatever data file that is created, right? That is a CSV file. Okay. The file format is comma separated. Observe here, file format, column delimiter is comma. Column delimiter means each columns are delimited or separated by a comma. That's what this means. Understood or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The file format, right? Under file format section, you see something called column delimiter as a comma. That means columns are each column. See, this is one column. This is another column. And these two columns are separated by a comma by default because the separator is comma here. Clear? Now your file, you should have, when you are supplying the values to the script, right? You should also keep the values in this format only, right? So what I will do is I copied this test data into your notepad++, right? So I will replace that space with a comma. Control C, Control H, and paste it here. It's already pasted. Now I want to replace with a comma. Now do replace all. Now see here, all these spaces are replaced with a comma. Now copy this test data into this file, into this pusername.dat file. And I already used this power4, right? M power4 is already registered. That's, I cannot reuse it again, isn't it? Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
So what I will do is I'll remove that. See, let me show you that. See, this user is already registered. Okay, now what I will do is I'll remove that and use this data, new data. Right? And observe here, do Control A and make sure that your line is at, your cursor is at the next line like this. It should be like this. Right? I'll explain that again. Okay. For now, I pasted the data into a file, into that parameter file. Which file? pusername.dat file. Okay. Now what I will do is, now let me replay the script. Now here I need not modify the script anymore. Now let me replay the script. What is the username that it will use now? What is the first file? What is the first line? You have Pawan 5 in that script, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Right. So let's see, like now that user registration should happen now. It is executing line number 20 and it is executing think time now. Vugen is executing think time now, right? This marker clearly shows that, isn't it? Any queries we can discuss when the think time is getting executed? No queries?
Sir, I have the query. Sir, I didn't record any sections, but I just replayed what you said. I changed my settings in the replay options, but my screen was coming. Your Web2 script was passed. How can it happen, sir?
I'll come
Can
to
I
your screen. No,
okay,
please wait.
okay.
Wait. I'll come to your screen. Okay. Now user registration is done, right? So we should see that user ID in the folder, in that users folder. Here you can see that user registration is done, isn't it? So now what happened, right? So we don't have that in the script directly. So what happens here, the moment it comes here, this line number 45, it will go to that file, right? It will go to that file and pick the value from that column, p username column. And here it will pick the value from p password column. And it will use those values from the file, whatever data we supplied in the data file. Understood, guys? Now user registration, the script is completed, right? Now you can see that. Also go to the folder and you can see that username and password. This is the username. Password is, whose password is password 5. This is first name, last name, address 1 and address 2, right? Clear, guys? Now you will be able to log into the application with this user. Yes or no? You should be able to log in, right?
Yes, able to log in.
Now you are able to log in, right? Because user registration is done now. Now I'll take 5 more minutes. Okay. So I want to register the remaining 100 users, or I want to, so I want to do that I want to register 100 more users. Okay. So what I will do is, let me go to the parameter file. We already used this empower file. The first line is already used. I want to use from second line, right? So do you have an option? Yes, we have, right? So let me show you that. First, before that, let me show you something. Sequence of each iteration. For password, I will use as, observe here, I will use as same line as p username. Because if I take password from first username from this line, I want to use this password from the same line. If my tool chooses this one, right? I want to use password 6 for this username, right? How I do that is by selecting this option, same line as p username. Clear? What is this option?
Sir.
Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right? Observe here, password select chesi, ee option select cheskovali. Same line as p username. Now go to username, and I already used this Pawan M5. The first line is already used. Yes or no? It's
Yeah.
already registered. I can't reuse that, right? So how you can do that is, I want my script to select from line number 2. How can I do that is, here I can change first data line to 2. First data line to 2. Okay? Now observe here, it is showing from second line onwards. Remember, the data will not be removed from the file. Data will still be there in the file. But here, if you change the first data line, right, it will show you, it will reflect the change here. That's it. It will not remove the first line. Understood, guys? We are using first data line as 2. That means it will take the values from second line onwards, from this line onwards. And these are column headers. This is not the test data. These are column headers, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Parameter names avi. Username, password anadi parameter name. To indicate that this is username, first one is username, second one is password. To indicate that they are using this column headers. Clear, guys? Is it clear now?
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right? Now what I will do is, I want to register some 50 user IDs. Let's say, for example, I want to do some 50 user registrations, or 45. Yeah, let it be 50. So how can I do that is, go to run logic and change the number of iterations. By default, it will be 1. I changed it to 50. Okay. And I will remove think time also, because it's taking a lot of time, right? I will use ignore think time option. Okay.
Okay.
Let me replay the script now. It will, so that it will be faster. It will be completed in 2 minutes. Okay. Now see here, your script is doing user registrations for you, right? Now just sit back and relax. Your script will be doing the user registrations, right? Go and have a cup of coffee or tea. So your script will be doing the user registration job now. Isn't it? Are user registrations happening?
Yes, sir.
Right? Now you can see that, you can see that here in action, your script in action, right? As we don't have think time, runtime over, it will be very fast. Isn't it? See here. Still you can see those, right? Thank you, welcome messages, all this.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But
sir.
if you want the think time of this registrations, is that available after the script completion?
So what is the purpose of think time? If you want to wait between each transaction, we kept some think time. So
We
why
don't
I
want that
removed
think
why
time
I-
in the real time work.
Yes, in real time, when you're running a load test, yes, think time is mandatory.
So where we will get that think time if you hide that think time?
Okay. No, it will not be simulated now actually. But actually,
Okay.
to save some time, I ignored think time. I selected ignore think time. But when you are running a
Yes,
test,
sir. I understood that point. If we want that think time for in the practical, where we get that in the real
go to
time?
runtime settings. That's what I have shown, right? Go to runtime
Okay.
settings, and you should select the corresponding option. I'll explain those options later on. Don't worry about them.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
I'll explain each runtime settings option later on. Right? I just want to complete this user registration. Now is it clear, guys? Our script is doing that user registration now. So our first script is ready now. Done. Now 50 user registrations are completed just now with the script. From 6 to 55, empower 55 user registrations are completed now with the script. Right? Now you understand how to record a script and what is the purpose of the script.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right? So, and our first, of course, there are some minor modifications, so that you have to still do, right? But our script is working now perfectly fine. User registration script is working perfectly fine, and these are the steps in script modification. Let me show you that. So there are a couple of steps in script modification, steps in script enhancement, right? So these are the different steps which I will explain tomorrow, from tomorrow onwards, one by one. In today's script, we just did this one, parameterization. We did only
Yes.
parameterization. Right?
I want to ask
So
a question. Did parameters comes under the topic of parameterization? Yeah. We just okay.
that's
Correlation
what
and
we did now,
parameter.
right?
Yeah.
We did parameterization in the script and we passed the parameters. Parameters is nothing but parameterization is nothing but to pass test data to the script, right? To pass test data to the script. What test data we passed, guys, here in this script?
Username and password.
Passwords.
Usernames and password we passed to the script, right, from a file, isn't it? From
Yes.
this parameters file, we passed this data. Observe here, whatever data we kept in the file, right, that is user now. M1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. That's what that is the data that is used now, right, for user registration from here onwards, right?
I
no?
thought that this topic was a big. You just completed in a second.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Parameterization. I thought the parameterization topic was a big. It just completed in a minute. I just understood the
That's it.
topic. Okay.
That's it. Parameterization concept is done. Okay. Correlation concept is, it takes some time. So I will introduce each and every concept one by one. Okay. So the course structure was designed in such a way that each concept will be I will be covering each concept one by one. Okay. So if you observe here, parameterization I will cover in user registration script. Next concept is important concept is correlation, that will be covered in login and navigation. So I designed this course or this flow in such a way that you will learn each concept one by one. Okay. I'll stop it here for today, guys. I think we took a long session today.
Sir, recording option ఒకసారి చెప్తారా సార్?
I'll share this PPT with you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Otherwise,
Thank you.
one second.
Sir, in real time, for example, IRCTC or Flipkart, we will be having concurrent users like 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 15 lakhs. So if we want to test that, so we have to create 5 lakh or 10 lakh users and test that. So we'll be waiting for that time, or it will be running in the background.
What is that? So when yes, we may need to create the test data. Otherwise, database DBA will provide the test data.
Okay.
Okay. So in some projects, a client will provide the test data also. Otherwise, we can create it. Simple, right? We can create one script for user registration and we can create the test data. With the
Sir,
script.
what I
Or
can
else you can
understand is,
create it by running a query, by SQL query also, you can create the data.
okay.
So suppose in Jmeter there is threads, group, and all the things. So here is any fields like that in LoadRunner?
No, you don't. So okay, I will explain that mapping and all later on. Okay, there are the process remains the same. Correlation and parameterization concept remains same, but the approach remains different from tool to tool. The approach differs from tool to tool. So in Jmeter we call that as a thread group. Here we call that as a script. In LoadRunner, this is nothing but a thread group. In LoadRunner, here we call that as a script. Okay. Those who join, like, let me show you that Jmeter PPT. Once we go to Jmeter, I will explain, I will map each concept and I will explain what a particular thing is called in LoadRunner, and what the same thing is called in Jmeter. If you see here LoadRunner versus Jmeter, here wait, terminology. I think there should be another slide. Yeah, LoadRunner versus Jmeter terminology. So in LoadRunner we call that as a script, whereas in Jmeter we call that as a thread group. In LoadRunner scenario, we call the combination of script is called as a scenario. In Jmeter we call that as a test plan. So I will explain this. This clearly explains like what each thing is called, in LoadRunner and Jmeter, isn't it?